As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I had to go with fans of the Washington football team.
The
There's been
Commanders?
the Commanders. Is that
They're the Commanders now.
The Commanders. That's only going to take me 5 years. I just got to saying the Washington football team, and now I've got to learn Commanders. Um, Fans there have complained forever about their owner. Well, little investigation reveals that they've been cooking the books over there in Washington, and they've been hiding money from fans from other NFL teams in the revenue sharing program. So there's no telling what may go down with this. There's a chance that old Snyder may be forced to sell this team. I don't know exactly that's what's necessarily going to happen. I'm sure he has his story as to what exactly is going down, but I'm sure there's some people rejoicing around there that want that franchise run much better than it has been.
Yeah. So the Commanders, they have denied all of these allegations.
No.
Of course
okay.
they have. But, a little more detail. So they allegedly purposefully failed to refund up to $5 million in deposits to season ticket holders. And then the ticket revenue sharing you were talking about, this is how it works. And this is from Axios Sports. NFL teams must give 40% of their net home ticket sales to the league, which it then distributes to the other 31 teams. Former employee testified that the team kept 2 sets of accounting books in an effort to underreport its revenue and allegedly attributed game revenue to other events held at their stadium, including Navy Notre Dame and a Kenny Chesney concert. Which is the Kenny Chesney concert. It's like, no, we didn't make that from a Commanders game. That was all Chesney.
Wow. What I wonder is if it's that easy to do, is anyone else doing it?
I would like to think
the NFL
not.
themselves coming that's a big you're just going to rely on all 32 teams to say here's what we made and here's what we'll contribute to the rest of the group. Is there any NFL auditor that's going around and making sure that they're giving their fair share? I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
It is, because when I saw this originally, I was like, this is finally what that, because NFL owners stick together, right? Mm-hmm. There's 32 of them, and it's like, hey, if I don't mess with you, you don't mess with me. We'll stick together. That's why, even though Dan Snyder had the toxic work environment scandal and all that, he somehow still owns the team, even though I think, what is it, his wife who runs the day-to-day now, because he can't
maybe
be the face. But if he messed with the 31 other owners' money by not accurately reporting their revenue and then having that distributed to the other teams, that would piss all of those guys off, unless
silence may be really telling. If they're not coming out pounding the table like, where's my money? It's like, don't look here. Don't look here.
Turns out all NFL teams have made a ton off Kenny Chesney concerts.
Yeah, well, one of the things is not only is it underreported to the other owners, it also ends up being underreported to the players' share, right?
Yeah.
So it's in all of the owners' interest, if they can keep 2 sets of books, this is what we tell everyone we make, right? And that's what the percentage goes to the players from this revenue, right? And here's what we actually make. So I don't know. It's interesting to see, and I don't know if it goes any deeper, but there could be a chance. New ownership, possibly.
There are a lot of Commanders fans that are very excited because they think finally Snyder's going down. We'll see. All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Now, I saw this reported, and I don't know like how much truth there is there, but it sounds like Coach Stoops is going to do the XFL thing. So Fox Big Noon is going to be left with an opening. Urban Meyer? Really? Are they really thinking about bringing Urban Meyer back? Is there a football coach that you can think of that has like a worse reputation right now than Urban Meyer?
I hear you. What happened in Jacksonville, all the reporting that has come after the fact, after him being let go by the Jaguars. Yeah, it hadn't been great, right? It hadn't been great. I will say this, though. Did you watch Fox Big Noon Kickoff when he was on there?
Yeah, some.
He's pretty good, man. He's pretty good on TV, but I know
there's a bunch of guys that can be good.
I hear you, but like, if take the off the field stuff out of it, right? Take the girl trying to sit on his lap and
the grinding episode,
and what some of the players that played for him at Florida ended up doing with their lives and with other people's lives.
Ohio State
and the Ohio State stuff, and then how Jacksonville and that whole thing went. Like, take that all out of it.
And the fact that you want a guy to talk about football that didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
I still don't believe he didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
Who's this 99 guy, huh? Pretty good player.
Good. It's still the most ridiculous. There's no way it just can't be true. Just cannot be true. But there's not a lot of guys that have won that many national championships.
Now, if you could put him through maybe some speech classes, I think Coach Ogeron would be pretty good on there. But would anyone know what he's saying? That's the thing.
Normally in those roles, it's like, I don't want to be able to tell where you're from, right? You want to have that neutral accent so everyone can understand you. Coach O doesn't quite hit that. Even though he was at Notre Dame like yesterday.
Yeah.
I guess with his sons saying that they were going to win titles.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I thought that was really weird by Fox, but I guess if there's no better options.
Well, it sounded like it was like Bob couldn't do it anymore because Fox has the USFL now.
Right.
And the XFL, which Bob is coaching in, is going to be on ESPN. And that's not great synergy, I guess, which Bob didn't sound very torn up about it. He was like, I wanted to watch my son play anyways.
Yeah. Well, they get hung up on the dumbest things. You think anyone cares at all that Coach Stoops coaches in the XFL, not the USFL, whenever they're watching Fox Big Noon? Does that matter to anybody in the world at all?
Just the few people at Fox that thought of it. They're like, oh.
What's going to happen if someone asks, why is he coaching the USFL?
But Tim, the optics. I guarantee you the word optics was used in that meeting. Guarantee it.
There are no optics. No one's watching.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to my winner and loser. But first, if you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you are doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world. No big deal. By Whiskey Advocate. And you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. Remember, in 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnnie Walker and Macallan, ever heard of them, and became the first American distillery to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yeah, they're from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with new Oregon head coach Dan Lanning. Big recruiting win for Lanning. Landed a commitment from 2022 five-star offensive tackle Josh Conerly. A lot of recruiting experts out there thought Conerly was headed to USC, but Lanning, that new staff, get a nice win. They're saying Eugene, Oregon is the SEC of the West Coast. They took a lot of good recruiting coaches out there. So,
yeah, they're saying it's the SEC of the West Coast, and Lincoln Riley already ran from the SEC once, right? You know they're saying that.
I have a feeling that's been mentioned in a recruiting pitch or two by those Oregon coaches.
Oh, yeah.
But my winner of the week, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe it's just the NBA playing games. I love them, man. I loved watching Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, by the way, still very good at basketball. Kyrie Irving, also still very good at basketball. And that was fun. But the Minnesota game against the Clippers, that was so much fun to watch on Tuesday night. I want to make one thing clear. I was not cheering for Patrick Beverley. Couldn't do it. Couldn't stomach it. However, I was cheering against the Clippers. So make of that what you want, because the Thunder they've got the Clippers first round draft pick. So we want the Clippers to lose again in this next game. And that way that pick is higher for the Thunder. So the Clippers losing to the Timberwolves was a good thing. And the Timberwolves won despite Karl Anthony Towns just sucking in that game. I mean, he played so poorly, couldn't hit a shot, couldn't guard anyone, couldn't stop fouling people. I mean, the dude fouled out with like almost 8 minutes to go in the game.
Lucky for the T-Wolves, he did foul out. That was probably a good thing
kidding.
for him.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns isn't feeling great after that game because they went on a run once he was out of that sucker. And luckily for him, Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell played really, really well. There's a lot of discussion about the celebration. Was it a little over the top? Maybe. But this is where I'm at with it, Ted. Who cares, man? Let the guys have some fun. Let the fans have some fun. We've been through a lot over the last couple years. Now, Patrick Beverley throwing his jersey into the crowd, that was hilarious. I don't know how I feel about it. It was funny, though. But that atmosphere looked awesome. And people that are like, oh, act like you've been there before. Oh, shut up. It looked like a hell of a time.
Don't act like you've been there before. Act like you're having the time of your life. That's what people want to see. And for anyone that's upset about it, like how could you ever get upset over how someone celebrates a win? I mean, there's some things that maybe you don't celebrate and sometimes not to celebrate, but this isn't one of them. Have fun. It looked like they enjoyed it. It looked like the crowd was obviously enjoying it. I thought it was cool.
You know, because I watched the entire game and I watched the celebration. And I watched the guys from TNT make fun of them for celebrating afterwards, which was pretty hilarious. But it's Shaq and Charles Barkley. They could say what they want. They could do what they want.
They're going to make fun of something anyways, so it might as well be that, right?
You know, do you know what my reaction was to watching those people celebrate?
What was it?
Jealousy.
Right.
I miss playoff basketball, man. I miss watching the Thunder playing important games. And I was watching those Timberwolves fans and I was like, I used to be that. That used to be me.
You didn't
I
have
used to feel that energy.
You didn't have a semi-celebration of the Clippers losing though, and the Thunder pick being
I
better.
gave it like a little fist bump. I was like, yeah, fist pump.
Yeah.
All right. Good for draft positioning. But I was watching those Timberwolves fans and those players, and I was like, I want that again. Please.
It was fun. It was fun whenever it was rolling, man. There's no doubt about that.
But I'll stay positive. After hearing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander talk in his exit interview about how excited he is about Sam Presti's plan, the Thunder's plan, even had a smirk on his face, talking about big old smile from SGA. Like, if he's excited, I'm excited, baby. But I want to feel that again. I want to feel NBA playoff energy again, Ted.
I know. I just hope Presti's plan this time isn't to trade away one of the major pieces, young, with everything in front of him, over a couple $1 million. That's what I hope. I hope Presti's plan is better this time.
I'm with you. That being said, even after that trade, should have won a title, maybe two.
True.
And it's Patrick Beverley's fault.
Mm.
Can't cheer for him. I couldn't. It was so funny. The only thing funnier than him throwing his jersey into the stands was the lady that tried to glue herself to the court. I mean, what? Listen, I get it was about, treating animals well and all that stuff. Like, I get it. I'm all for treating animals well. I am, but was that Elmer's glue? What did
wood glue? Is it wood glue because she's on a wood floor?
What did she think she was going to accomplish? Like, I need to know, like, how did she see the plan going in her head? And if you don't know what we're talking about, during the game between the Timberwolves and the Clippers, a woman goes on the court and in protest tries to glue her hand to the court. And I'm not making it up. That's what happened. But
yeah,
I feel like she saw it going differently in her mind.
Well, I don't know how she saw it going, but it could only go one of two ways. Way one, you don't use a good enough glue and you just come up off the floor. Way two, you do use a good enough glue and your skin is left on the basketball floor. All right. That's the only other way it was going to go. Right.
So maybe Elmer's glue was the right choice for her.
It was. It definitely was.
All right. For my loser of the week, thought about going with the Derek Carr haters. Ooh. Because my man DC, another big extension, 3 years, $121.5 million extension with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Unbelievable. Huge money being thrown around out there. Derek Carr is, he's making bank. Is he ever going to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders? Absolutely not. It's never going to happen. But the guy is making a ton of money. Can't hate him for that.
I'll say this. I'm fine with it because he's an awesome guy.
There's worse quarterbacks and worse people making the same or more money than him.
Great way of looking at it. I also thought about going with West Virginia quarterbacks because you see JT Daniels committed to West Virginia, school 3, maybe the lucky charm there for JT Daniels reuniting with Graham Harrell. I don't know. It's going to be an awkward last 2 weeks of spring ball for those West Virginia quarterbacks on the roster. They're like, hey man, what the hell?
It sounds to me like maybe one of those guys is going to end up having a hell of a year. Everywhere JT Daniels is gone, someone else ends up winning all the games.
That's a good point. We'll see. Maybe it'll be Goose Crowder. That's one of the guys in their QB competition. Goose. They got Garrett Green, Goose Crowder, and Nico Marchial.
Wow.
Those are the 3 guys battling it out for West Virginia right now. But I settled on LA Dodgers manager Dave Roberts as my loser of the week. Maybe it should be Clayton Kershaw. I'm not sure whose decision it was.
Both
and
of them.
We very rarely talk baseball on here, but look at us. We're about to talk some baseball. Clayton Kershaw had pitched 7 perfect innings against the Twins on Wednesday, had only thrown 80 pitches, and Dave Roberts pulled him. He had 2 innings left. He only had to get 6 more outs for the 24th perfect game in the history of Major League Baseball. And he pulled it. And listen, I get that he's got injury history. I get that they're being cautious, got a late start with the lockout, all those things. Like, I understand it. He's an older guy now. I don't even care that Kershaw said it was the right choice that Roberts made. Like,
it wasn't the right choice. It was a stupid choice.
He was dominating the game. 13 strikeouts in those 7 innings that he pitched. It was cold. I don't know why they're playing outside in Minnesota in April. I don't know why they're doing that. But the competitor, like, there's no way Kershaw wanted to come out, right? After the fact, he can say it was the smart thing. It was the right choice. It's a long season, but he had to have been pissed, right?
No.
Oh,
if he was pissed, he wouldn't have came out of the game.
That's true.
No.
So I should be mad at Kershaw.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, did you know that he went to the same high school as Matt Stafford and Scotty Scheffler?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Not many people know that. It's not talked about very often.
I knew he went to the same. I didn't know Scheffler went there. I knew that he went to the same one with Stafford.
We'll add Scheffler to the graphic.
How about
He's a Highland Park guy.
That's pretty impressive. Well, here's the thing. Any other pitcher on the planet would have told the manager to stuff it and get back in the dugout. You got a perfect game going here. All right, you're not worried about, or you're worried about him getting injured. Throw it underhand. Throw it left-handed.
He is left-handed. He would have to throw
right-handed. Throw it right-handed. What's the worst that happens? They hit it. We're done here. You walk off. Maybe they hit a ground. Maybe hit a fly, and you get some easy outs. Just because you're in for the final 2 innings doesn't mean you have to try and throw it 110 miles an hour. Get it over the plate safely and see if your defense can go to work for you. There's been 23 perfect games in history. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. There's no excuse for it. Manager, pitcher, stupid. The whole thing's stupid.
I wonder how much of it was Kershaw's decision, because I will judge that man if he was like, yeah, I want to come out. Like,
it's 100% his decision. If the manager comes out and says, hey, man, listen, 80.
No, but he didn't even come out. Like, he just didn't go out. Like, it was in between innings.
Okay. In the dugout, listen, hey, 80 pitch count. You're on it. I know you've got a historic accomplishment that you could possibly pull off here that would, be something huge, but we've got this pitch count. We really got to hold you to it. Any other pitcher that has any type of competitiveness to him at all would tell him get stuffed, but in another way, right?
You were in a real conundrum there about what you were about to say there.
Okay, I understand 80 pitch count. I'm going to throw it 70 miles an hour and see if we can get some defensive outs. As soon as they get a hit or get on base, come out and get me. But until then, get the hell away from me, right?
Baseball, man. It's a long season.
They are the worst. Baseball is the worst. They cannot get out of their own way, man. Oh, my God. Kershaw, he's got a chance at a perfect game.
Let's cut in live.
Cut in live. They're idiots, man. The whole thing. How many times do we have to see this with baseball?
I can only imagine that Rob Manfred saw that and was like, yeah, that's the right decision. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The last thing we want is everyone talking about the perfect game and however long it's been since someone threw one. We don't want them talking about that for the next week.
It
What
just
a
cuts to
joke.
Kershaw. It cuts to Kershaw. He's putting his jacket on, done for the night, and then he puts his complimentary headphones that Manfred gave it. Bose. And Bose is like, no, please.
Is there like a silver cursive Rob Manfred on the side of him or something? Rob
Personalized by the
Manfred edition.
commissioner.